start the day off, I'll just talk a little about our super project. Again, like I said, biased. So we've been going for 3 years now, which I can't believe. It's been flying by. But it's been a real blast. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to sort of set the scene for the day. So Citizan is the Coastal and Intertidal Zone Archaeological Network. It's a bit of a mouthful, but there you go. And we're focusing on citizen science, like you heard yesterday from Gus. And we work in partnership with all sorts of fabulous people. So the Crown Estate and National Trust are huge landowners all along the coast. So it's really, really fruitful partnerships working with them. Historic England provides some amazing advice for us as well, all across the country. And we're working with our partners, the Nautical Archaeology Society. We're just back here, so I definitely recommend visiting their stall if you haven't already. And Council for British Archaeology, who provide amazing support for community archaeology work all around the country. So it's a really strong partnership. And of course, we're all based at MOLA, so we're all MOLA employees, so it's got really strong archaeological background we all have as well. And all thanks to the Heritage Lottery Fund, without whom we could not do all this fabulous stuff. But what's fabulous about it? Let me tell you. Don't take my word for it. So here's what we've been up to for the last 3 years. A fair bit. These are all places we visited, which is pretty staggering. We've been pretty busy, putting a lot of miles on our minibuses. So in case you're not sure, we've got 3 offices here, so you're going to hear from our little teams here. So 3 offices around the country, so we can more easily get out and see the coast and see our estuaries, especially after something has happened, sort of big storms or something. When it changes rapidly, you have to be able to move rapidly. And it's all the better to sort of interact with our local volunteers who are super engaged, so you're going to hear from them in just a second. But we've been doing heaps, actually. So over 200 outreach events, raising awareness about coastal archaeology and intertidal archaeology and why people should care about sticks in the mud, basically. So it's quite important. And then once people start caring about it, then we've held over 100 training events as well over the 3 years, with a lot of returning volunteers as well. So it's really exciting to see. And then just been keeping busy in between, doing a lot of surveying and other work as well. So I'll show you some pretty pictures, and I'll stop talking for a second. Here's what we've been up to. So we've been down to East Sussex looking at the wreck of the Kunato. So let's see if I can point it out here. Is my little laser pointer going? So you can see it come through here and here. So it's a wooden clipper here. And we've been down there, we were down there surveying with some National Trust volunteers and got a great a plan of the wreck here. And we're hoping to revisit again with some National Trust volunteers in the coming years to see if anything has changed, because it's quite a dynamic environment down there with the sort of shingle and chalk boulders rolling around on top of this really fragile structure. We've been to sort of less coastal and intertidal things that you think of when you think of the beach. This is an atomic weapons research establishment. So we've got nautical, we've got all sorts of other as well around the coast that we're looking at. So we're doing a lot of recording of sort of ephemeral structures on the foreshore here. So actually this is, I don't know if Izzy's here today, she was definitely here yesterday. Izzy and Colin were working on, Colin, are you in this picture? Can't remember. Anyway, we're working down at Orford in Suffolk, which is fantastic. And this is actually a sort of a bomb target. So it's pitch and chalk pushed into the shingle. And it was a very temporary structure, but from the air it would look like a black and white squares that you'd aim a bomb at. And this is actually, it's such a dynamic environment. The shingle moves rapidly around here. And things like this are going away, so we're trying to record them before they disappear. Not to mention the lighthouse, which is probably not going to be there that much longer. But anyway, that's another story. We've been down to the Isle of Wight, recording Hatherwood Battery, which you can see here. Some of the upstanding structures are still here, but some of them are slowly making their way into the sea. So making my way down here. So we're recording, did some recording work in section. We're getting a nice plan of the battery itself. This is just looking over into the needles at the Isle of Wight here. So it's a really beautiful landscape as well. But I think we got a really decent plan out of that. So it was really, really good work. We've done a couple visits down there. So really super. Well, wouldn't go amiss without talking about the Bronze Age shaft, or bell chute. So stop me if you've heard this one before. But these were photos taken in the 1980s at Bell Chute, back in East Sussex again. If you see here, we've got a very long sort of vertical shaft coming through. You can see these little dots here. And do you see these little dots here? Those are people, for scale. And they're quite far from the cliff edge here too, safety first. But if you zoom in on these little dots here, they're actually foot and handholds carved into the sides of the chalk cliff. It's spectacular, right? And it just revealed suddenly as the cliff shears away. So again, using this sort of coastal change, it's natural processes, but it can reveal archaeology as well as take it away. So it's quite special, and it shows the need for a sort of rapid response for recording these things. So within a few years, as the chalk slowly comes away again, it disappears. Fast forward 30 years later, we thought, you know what, there must be the bottom of this thing hanging around somewhere. Let's see if we can't get our super volunteers down there to have a look for it. So all goes down there, tells them sort of what to look for, hole this big, off you go, right? Sort of in this area. And 4 months of searching, and not just in the summertime months. This is November to February, by the way. So pretty chilly. They're down there pretty much every day. And what do you know? They find the bottom of it. And again, you see the size of these chalk boulders that roll around over and over on this landscape. So you could have walked by it every day and not seen it because the boulders could be right on top of it. And it's only through being quite vigilant, knowing what to look for, and knowing who to call when you see it, that we could then record it. So we called in a big team, crack team, excavate the bottom of it, see what fabulous riches are at the bottom of this shaft. And it was about yay deep, unfortunately. We can't win them all, but we did find it, and that's pretty spectacular. But also, a thing to note here, so notice our fabulous, smiley volunteers pointing at their lovely find. Look how far the cliff is now, too. So we can use this archaeology as a proxy for how the coast has changed, and we have an absolute date for when we saw that last, where that cliff was, and we have an absolute date for where the cliff is now. So again, it's using archaeology as a sort of beyond archaeology, and looking at environmental studies as well. So pretty exciting stuff.
Excuse me, do you know what that was for?
Well, they called it a ritual shaft, which if we know in the biz, means they don't really know. So I'm not sure. You could probably send the literature on it. Maybe All knows better than me.
There's also an upcoming program that might tell you more about it.
Oh, that's true. Potentially on Channel 4 in the next few months or so. We were doing some filming with Britain at Low Tide, so it should feature on that as well. So I don't know if that's too mysterious. But yeah, watch this space, I suppose. But yeah, it's kind of the R word. Yeah, ritual. We've not just been doing training. Like I said, we do a lot of outreach with folks to just get out there and experience the landscape, experience archaeology on the foreshore. And we just do that through guided walks as well, but guided dog walks as well, because it's usually when you're reading about something fabulous found on the beach, it's by someone walking their dog, because they walk in the same place every day and they notice when things are different. So our Southwest team, who have they're dog lovers, I would say, safely. And yeah, they took these fabulous guided dog walks down at Sutherland Beach in Dorset, and everyone seemed pretty happy with that. We've been doing building recording as well, so not just offset planning and so forth, but getting some elevations of St. Patrick's Chapel up in Heacham. I won't talk too much about it, just in case I don't want to ruin Andy's talk, so just zip ahead. But you might see some familiar faces there. Again, guided walks, but we had some student placements, some master's students placed with us as well. So it's actually one of our master's students, Henry, giving a guided walk to some of our colleagues at the CBA. And this is in Bridlington, Yorkshire. There's some really fabulous coastal defenses. As you can see here, the sort of tank traps all along here. So they're all still lining there. They're fabulous condition, and we've been kind of keeping an eye on those, especially as the sands shift, they start moving around. But it's really great to see some of our volunteers then going on to engage some other volunteers. Another fabulous one, I just thought I'd throw this in because it's gratuitous fabulousness. These are prehistoric footprints at Formby in Merseyside on the Sefton coast. Don't take my word for it again. So you can see some modern ones, but definitely some not modern ones. Here, we've got some traps coming along this way, and along here, those are human footprints. We've also got animal footprint tracks coming through. So when you see stuff like that, it's so spectacular, and it's so ephemeral as well. So again, showing the need for, these are gone within a few tidal cycles sometimes. So showing people how to capture information quickly so that we don't have to be there to do it. It's essential, and it's really, really exciting. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about this because you'll hear more about it from more exciting stuff later. But we have been using drones to capture. I think Gus mentioned this one yesterday. This one's in Cliff at Kent. And again, it's very sticking mud here, and the tide didn't go far enough to get we couldn't have got a survey from the back of the vessel here without having some floaties and maybe a snorkel. So we don't want to be doing that. So we let the drone do the work for us, and here it is. You can see the targets we set out for the drone so that we can then measure off of this plan, this 3D model, so it's very exciting. And again, you can see where the tide mark is here, so you don't want to be surveying that vessel with tapes and anything like that. And another sort of different type of stuff we've been doing, and this is very recently. In fact, Marcus, you can see if you spot yourself in that picture. But recently we're out with Historic England, capturing some scientific dating, so looking for dendrochronology samples we could take, or radiocarbon dates on a feature up in Cleethorpes. Possible trackway up there, so we had two areas we were working on here, and gathered some samples with Historic England scientific advisors and a crack team of everybody, so it was very exciting, and the scientific dating team. So that was good fun. A bit cold. We had to run off site because the fog rolled in, and the Coast Guard literally shouted us over bullhorns to get off the beach. So safety first, everyone. And we're also here to tell the tale. I'll quickly mention our smartphone app. You'll notice on your chairs you have little pouches for your smartphones to go in so that they can stay waterproof. Because unfortunately, the beaches aren't always this blue, lovely sky we have to deal with. So you can keep your devices dry while you're out there recording on the smartphone app. It's free to download. If you haven't done so already, there's a QR code on the back of a little flyer in your pouch. So there you go. Another quick one just to wrap it up. So what have we been up to for the last 3 years? Well, a fair old bunch. Everyone loves a pie chart, so I'd throw this in, make it nice and colorful for you guys this morning. And it's just to show that it's we do a lot of intensive engagement with our training, and it's super fun, and as are our outreach. So actually, you guys are going to be another stat in this one, because I think we fall in sort of here and here. So we'll be adding to our blue section of our outreach pie chart. But yeah, we've been very busy and having a great time. So just to wrap up, we've got a fair few of people in our archaeological network. So the important part about this is it's Coastal Intertidal Zone Archaeology Network. So that's you guys. And we've sort of interacted or talked to 8,000 people through our outreach events in the last 3 years. So been pretty busy bees. 1,200 people have come to training sessions, which is pretty exciting. And nearly 2,000 people have signed up for the app, which is staggering. Not all of them are active users, but I think a lot of people use it as a gazetteer to kind of walk around and see what's out there. So that's pretty exciting too. And a nice distribution of where you guys all are. Don't worry, it's anonymized, so we won't be sending you weird posts. Okay, here we go. And who are these 2,000 people? What are they providing for the record? Because it is preservation by record. These features won't be there in situ. So we're recording them as best we can. And that data then is going back into HERs, the Historic Environment Record. It's going to go to Historic England and National Trust and all their partners. It's going to be freely available, and that data will inform the future. So the stuff that you guys are doing is making a real difference, and it's really exciting. And I will let the numbers speak for themselves, but they're pretty high. So keep up the good work, you guys. And last but not least, sorry, Oliver, I'm picture you up here. But don't just take my word for it. These are responses from some of our volunteers. And I don't want to steal Esther's thunder, so I'll just quickly whiz over them. But I think this one probably will show up in your slide as well, because it's just such a fabulous thing. And I think it's really important to do something that's important. So thank you guys very much. And I will stop talking now, and I will pass the microphone over to Andy. Thank you.